Good afternoon, everybody. I'm meteorologist Austin Cheney here in the 13 WMAZ Weather Center, and we just got our 5 o'clock advisories in on both Tropical Storm Marco and Tropical Storm Laura, and there's some new updates that are pretty interesting that I do want to bring to you this evening. So first off, let's break down Marco. The storm is intensifying. Look at that pressure. It's down to 992 millibars. The lower that number goes, the higher the wind speeds go, and as of the latest advisory, winds are up to 65 miles an hour, so it is getting closer to hurricane strength as it continues to move between Cuba and the Yucatan Peninsula. Now here's an updated projected path, and this is a big change from what we were seeing earlier today. Remember when we were on the news this morning, it looked like the storm would make landfall somewhere there along the Texas coastline. Well, that has shifted further towards the east, and now it looks like New Orleans and much of Louisiana is in play for a landfall of potentially a Category 1 hurricane, but that intensity forecast still has some uncertainty in it as well, so it may end up being a bit stronger. But bottom line, folks in Louisiana are now on high alert for this storm. Now let's go out to Tropical Storm Laura, which is also potentially going to be moving towards Louisiana. So right now this system is a little further away from the United States. It did manage to miss Puerto Rico directly today, so it stayed out over water. Thanks to that, it did gain some strength. Winds are now up to 50 miles an hour, and it is moving towards the Dominican Republic and Haiti. So here's the latest projected path with Laura. Over the next 2 days, it's going to be moving over Hispaniola and then Cuba. Now, of course, land interaction is bad for tropical systems, good for us here in the United States, and that's exactly what's going to happen over the next 2 days. So there's a good chance that this storm is significantly disrupted or weakened before it has an opportunity to make it into the Gulf of Mexico. But once it gets there, it does have an opportunity to re-strengthen into a tropical storm or a hurricane if it hasn't been completely torn apart just yet. So let's assume that happens and it makes it into the Gulf. Here we're looking at another hurricane going right towards the same area that Tropical Storm or Hurricane Marco ended up. So this could be a not great situation for southern Louisiana and New Orleans there. Now with both storms, notice we stay out of the projected path. We're out of the cone of uncertainty, and in all likelihood we're going to miss the worst impacts. Now let's overlay both of those tracks on top of each other. So this is kind of unique. This doesn't really happen a lot in the Gulf of Mexico or the Atlantic, but we're going to see two storms basically take the same track as it moves towards the United States. And we'll zoom into Louisiana, and you can see New Orleans is going to be potentially impacted significantly by both of those storms. So we just have to hope that they don't end up being stronger than they're already forecast to be, because we know that city and that part of Louisiana just can't take a lot of storm surge. So a lot to pay attention to there. But again, with both tracks on now, we see that central Georgia stays well away from either situation, and all we're going to see is just some showers and thunderstorms. So let's watch it play out on the models now. Here we are Saturday evening. We're just dealing with the shower and storm threat. Here's Marco way down there in the southern part of the Gulf of Mexico. And through the weekend, it will continue to intensify as it moves towards Louisiana, and it'll eventually make landfall there come Monday. But you see, for our forecast, all we're expecting is just some afternoon showers and storms. Now we get past Monday into Tuesday, and here comes Laura into the picture. So Laura starts moving towards Louisiana. Again, the heaviest wind and rain and all the significant impacts stay there, while we just see some afternoon showers and thunderstorms. So while some parts of the Gulf Coast could see some significant impacts, potentially within a day or so of each other right in the same areas, central Georgia does look to escape the worst of the impacts. In fact, rainfall totals over the next 7 days don't look too out of the ordinary at all. The models are showing an inch or less of rain as we go through the next 7 days. So key messages to take away this evening: both of these storms will likely intensify in the Gulf, and that's going to be an important part of the forecast to fine-tune. Intensity is always the more difficult part of a hurricane forecast. U.S. landfalls are likely next week, and it unfortunately looks like we're honing in on a Louisiana landfall for both systems, so I have to watch that carefully. But one more time, significant impacts are not likely here in central Georgia. We'll continue to keep you updated both on air and online here at 13 WMAZ.